Hey, good afternoon, evening, everybody. Welcome back to the Oak Island Research Channel for a new video. I'm so thrilled and excited about the video I'm going to share with you. It's the continuation of the work proposed by Gasbo, and Michael chipped in. So we got new things, and what we discovered both on our side, and yesterday we spent an hour talking together, and the day before also, and we really found something in there that is almost, to my eyes, as important as the discoveries we made on the Zina Halperns map. So I'm very excited to share all this with you. Please take a coffee, enjoy, sit back and relax, like they say in airplanes, because this is gonna rock the boat. That's the promise. And I subtitled this video, "Did we miss something?" Actually, we missed everything, I think, and it's great because again, it's a work that was proposed by somebody through a comment on one of the videos a year ago, and I didn't ever seen it and never pay attention to it, and only since the video before this one, I started to look into it, and Michael found something, and I found more things. And then even yesterday, live, while we were discussing, he and I'm like, okay, wait a second, this looks like that, and blah, blah, and bang, again, a hit. So let's go. Again, all those pictures from the Rochefoucauld Grail belong to the Lancelot Grail project, and I thank again Professor Alison Stones, who doesn't know and is not interested about what we're doing here because she's looking at it from a historical point of view, comparison with other manuscripts, and she's not into Oak Island. And it's a pity because if she would just make the wheel to look at what we're doing, she would be amazed. Let's go. So last video we stopped there. This is the pattern that I was proposing to work with, and that pattern revealed on the map several markers and location. Namely, it revealed cone D by intersecting 3 lines. It revealed cone A by intersecting 3 lines. It revealed the 429 extension point by, again, 3 lines coinciding in this point. And it would maybe have given a hint about the oak entrance, but I don't have any line crossing to locate it. It's just showing there somewhere on this line. La Hampe is not identified and the oak entrance is not identified. So that's where I left it last time, and that was what we found, or I found. Just for your understanding, Gasbo proposed a pattern that it's a bit more elaborate than this one, and I'll reuse Gasbo's proposed complete work. But at the time, the extra work that Gasbo was proposing didn't lead to anything on the map of Oak Island, so I stopped there and saying, okay, fair enough, this picture shows cone A, cone D, and 429. And I made that comment to Michael that when I finished this video, and I cut the recording, a couple of minutes later, I thought, oh gosh, I forgot the line I wanted to end up the video with, which is, we didn't know for sure the journey that's described in this picture, the sailing across the Atlantic. We're not 100% sure the landing was Oak Island, even though that black shape here looked like the Bay of Mahone, and that was the video before, 2 videos ago. But still no proof. And I was happy enough to find the extension, the cone, and the relationship with the distance onto this painting, and I wanted to say, now, can you believe it's Oak Island? Because it is. But after this video, I'm going to show you, oh my. So here we register 3 points, 3 known points from the works of Michael and the works of decoding the Rochefoucauld map. And then Michael called me, or he sent me a text message with a picture saying, you forgot a couple. And I called him, and then magic happened. You know how we work. And we were laughing yesterday night. I'm more on the intuition side. Michael is more on the rigorous approach. So let's see. So I reworked the design, meaning I'm using thinner line, more precise. I spend more time zooming in the anchor points, if I can call them this way. And the world is not perfect. You see that, for instance, here, I'm not exactly crossing the three lines together. And it would happen again sometimes that we're almost hitting the sweet spot, but no. And here it works perfectly. It's the way you align this line. Do you make it match this point? Do you rather make it match this point? I chose the top point. Why? Because the line stays vertical. And if you start hitting this point instead, you're bending the line. So it's just a choice. Remember, this picture here is not that big. It's a smaller picture in the big book, but still it's a small picture. It's old. It's been photographed, high definition, as you know now. And if you have a half a degree of an angle off of the plan you're taking the picture from, you may get such discrepancies. But anyways, we were starting with this. And then Gasbo suggested those construction lines, which again at the time, 6 days ago, I didn't see the benefit of drawing these lines. But now I've got it. And what I've got is, it's all in the glares. It's all in where people look at. So we know those two gentlemen here and there, and we have their eyesight. I don't know if you say that in English. The sight, the line of sight from their eyes. And Gasbo is proposing that this lady also, we should use the same line, horizontal. And you see with I think it's meant to cross exactly here and there, or maybe not. I'm not sure how they designed it, but this is a horizontal line. That's going to be interesting for later use. He also proposed another horizontal line because he spotted that the beak of the puffin on the right hand side was aligned with the horizontal half circle here. You got, the 155, which actually now we get better definition is not 155 degree into Mahone Bay, it's 154, because this finger now we can see it's folded. So rather it's 154. Trust me, trust Michael, he worked the angle, you see later why I'm saying this, he worked the angle on the map, it is 154, but it doesn't change anything to our journey story, since 154 or 155 you still land at the bottom of Mahone Bay at Chester. But what's interesting is that this horizontal line goes from the tip of the beak of the puffin, flirts and tangents with the knees of the king and queen, and lands nicely on half circle on the left hand side where you would draw the 155. And it's really flirting with the left knee, as you can see. I didn't see the interest of that line at the time. That's why I did not incorporate them in my previous video. So thank you, Gasbo. We're going to carry on a little bit. The next line we're going to be interested in, of course, is the 155, which is now called the 154 line. That's that line that gave us the direction to enter Mahone Bay and hit the back of Chester Bay, as those gentlemen are also looking at this shape, which is what we're talking about. And that 155 line, if you look at this area, is exactly aligned with this part of line describing the foot of the person. So let's use it. You see how I'm going to do it again? Right there. Okay, so these are my construction lines. And and you what we did then is, that's starting to be Michael's tips and work. Basically what we have is a circle there that's hidden, right? It's a circle. And the idea first is to find the center of this circle. So the center of the circle is right here. That's how it's found. It's the intersection of that 155 line and the beak to the knee, etc. Why? I don't know why, but it is there, definitely. And Michael thought about, if you want to draw a circle, you need a radius and a center point. We get the center point. What's the radius? Michael's hypothesis is that the radius is this red distance to the tip of the foot of that person. And if you draw now the circle, that's what the circle looks like. As you can see, the image here is basically telling us you got a circle and you need the 155 line to cross, because probably this point is interesting, right? You can see also a second line there. Maybe you don't, but I'll zoom later. You can see a second line. Are they asking us to draw 2 lines from the circle we just drew? Let's see. So this is the construction. And what they're telling us is that that 155 line, which is this line, is hitting the circle at a point that is interesting, I think. Michael think, we think. So this point is right here. It's where the 150, there's 2 points. There's one here that doesn't show any interest. There's that point there. That shows a lot of interest to Michael and I. And such interest that Michael connected it to the top line here, which is, remember, the 429 extension point. If you've been following our videos, and especially Michael's, you already know what this point is. If you don't, bear with us. It will be revealed in a couple of minutes. So that's pretty much what this picture was telling us to do. Draw a circle, use the 154 line, and where the intersection is, it's the only thing they show us. The intersection seems to be the only important place. Intersection being here. Intersection of the 155 and the circle with that diameter. The diameter or the radius being this, from the tip of the foot to the center of the circle. And he also proposes this, which matches again the picture. If you look closely, on this picture you get 2 lines, one's hidden there. Are they suggesting you need to draw 2 lines issued from the circle also? I don't know. I can also see very fainted lines here, but I don't know if they exist or if it's my eyes. We'll look together. Once I'm done with this picture, we'll have a deep drill down onto the high resolution photo to see what's really in there. So Michael suggests that from this intersection point, you draw a horizontal line that, of course, is at 90 degrees with that main backbone line here. That's his suggestion. And you'll see later why this line is welcomed. I propose that if you're using the intersection of that construction line and the vertical radius line to draw a first white horizontal line and project it onto this vertical backbone, then I suggested there must be another one right here. Right? So what I proposed, sorry, is it this? No, it's at the bottom, sorry. It's again that point. So that point here, I'm drawing one line extracted from the circle, parallel with one line extracted from the circle. Probably what they're telling us to do here. Probably. Okay, so these are my white lines, and I recognize also we have a nice rectangle here made by the white and the yellow and the yellow line. So I drew the diagonal, and strangely enough, the diagonal registered 3 lines itself, the white horizontal line, but also the yellow line that is just the diagonal of the painting. And it's interesting that they coincide there. Probably that orange line is welcome also. So that was one piece of discussion with Michael. And I don't want to reveal now what those points are, but if you got a good eye and a good look, you probably guessed it. Another thing. So let's pick it up where we left it with Gasbo. So that's the first construction that I was using about 10 minutes ago without any further development. So we developed the circle story on the left-hand side, and now I'm going to develop another one. A natural line seems to be also that purple line that goes from the bottom of the painting and hits this geometric crossing. And if you are careful, and Michael is, because that's how he found what is to be found, it is not using this line. He was using another way. He was saying from this point, when you draw that line, you hit exactly at the middle of those 2 distances, meaning you're creating a bisector, meaning the angle here is the same as the angle there. And that's interesting because he didn't spot that that line was ending up right here at the bottom. But I think that's what the designer wanted us to understand. You start from the bottom here, and when you hit that point, you have a geometric singularity, which is you're cutting that triangle or that angle into 2 separate because you're hitting right the middle here. So that was interesting. And it's confirmed by, remember, check the glares. That guy here is looking down, okay, to that finger, which we don't have a understanding yet what for. But if you look at him the other way, if he's looking behind himself, it's registering exactly the same point. So this point here is the intersection of the horizontal line given by the glare of the lady with this glare reversed, and also with the bisector of this angle, which is a line issued from the bottom of the painting. Interesting, huh? So that's for the left-hand side. And we will see again those points, why are they remarkable, in just a couple of minutes. If we go on the right-hand side and draw the same, where we're going to have the same phenomenon because everything is symmetrical. So the angle here is the angle there. Okay, it doesn't look like it. Maybe I'm a little off because this distance is the same as that distance. It could be also an illusion effect. So I'm hitting now this point. And is there any glare that records also this point? A glare I'm looking? Well, the only glare I'm not using at the moment is the king and the queen. The dog, we don't see its eyes. And the bird, the puffin. If you use the eye of the puffin, what do you see when you're a puffin? You see your beak right in front of your eyes. There's nothing else to see. It's obviously even hiding things from your sight and glare. So we took the tip of the beak, which is right here, which helps us doing that line, Gasbo suggestion. And when we do that, it reaches, again, this point here. Okay? So that's how I came up with those 2 points. Note that, of course, the distance of the left branch or right branch is the same as the distance of the left branch. There's a symmetry. Okay. Finally, when you take that point we just registered and go vertical down, you see it flirts exactly with the foot of the king and with the, and we love tangents. This one was given to me late by Michael because it's not an obvious one, but you'll discover later what it does. So the complete solution, at least as of today, is this, and there may be more. I don't think so. I think we explore probably 90% of what is lined, the hidden lines and the hidden pattern on that picture. But that's the complete kind of solution with whatever discrepancies. And, you know, here it's not perfect matching and here it's not perfect matching. But at the moment, that's what we got. Okay, so that's what the geometry of the painting gives. And I hope you guys are seated. Take a good breath, because when we transport this geometry here from the painting, which I explain you how I got it. I'm not drawing line magically. There's a reason why those lines are drawn on those angles, etc. So this is, oh, sorry. What I wanted to do, I wanted to just record the points of interest. So this is a point of interest. This is the 429 extension, okay? This is the point of interest we demonstrated last video. This is cone A. This point of interest is cone, that would be cone D, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, that's D. This point of interest here is noticeable. This one is noticeable by its construction. Huh? But this we discovered last time, that this one was the head stone. So that comes from last time. That's why I named them. I named them because 420 extension, headstone, and the D cone, cone D, was identified. They were identified on the last video. These are the new points. So this point, that point. We've got, of course, those 2 points. All right. What else do we have? We have this one that Michael detected with the blue line. I'm going to show you what this one is. How many I've got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm missing one. Oh, yeah. And this one that Michael is suggesting by the vertical line, the last line I described. If you extend it on this orange line, you get this point. So you got 10 points of interest. Notice that most of them come from 3 lines crossing, not 2. It's 2 lines crossing is 1 point. You don't need more. If you start having 3 lines crossing the same place, it is because you want that to be. It's against random normality, which they shouldn't. But 3 lines crossing at the same point is definitely a hint, I think. And some of them, the one resulting from a construction, a projection, or a mental work, are only intersect, one time. There's only 2 lines hitting that. Here, there's only 2. I made the orange one, though the orange one obviously hits a point where you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different lines. So what I'm saying is most of those points are identified by multiple vectors. And when you overlay this to the, so these are the same red points, right? These red points are highlighted are the ones from the geometry we know. We've got Nolan cross. I put it a little bit offside so we could still see the markers, okay? But that's Nolan cross, and you got La Hampe here. You got the oak entrance as suggested by Zina Halpern's map and as calculated by Mike. You've got the 429 extension point, you know where it is. Oops, side effect. The 429 extension point, you know where it is. Triangle 2, which is kind of the gateway to the west side. The set point, which was demonstrated both from Zina Halpern's map, but also from the stones and rock and triangles that are still visible on surveys from Nolan and Roper, which also, as I demonstrated in my 7 proof video, that set point was registered naturally on the island by the stones intersection. We have the vault as proposed by Zina and calculated by Michael. And now, finally, when you overlay the design we just created, it's not by chance that the red dots are here. I made them so you can spot. And I left set point in red. It was red, La Hampe in red, but here it is. Okay, so you do register the vault, the cone E. That's the projection from the circles. That's what they wanted us to do with the circle and the 2 little arrows. Cone D was registered from last session. Headstone was not registered from last session. We got it now. Cone A was registered from last session. The tips of the cones are those pink lines issued from the bottom. You remember? I just demonstrated them to you. So these are actually the cone C and cone B. They represent the branches of Nolan's cross. And the vertical line that Michael proposes at the end is intersecting La Hampe. The only thing you don't have is oak entrance, because oak entrance, again, you still know it's on this line, but you don't have anything crossing, nothing at all, so you can't really determine it, unless they wanted it to be here at the tip of the painting, but I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's just on purpose, not explaining, but the rest is there. When I did my orange line crossing as a diagonal the full rectangle, I only came to understand later it was triangle 2. I mean, come on, there's 11 points registered there. I mean, if I include oak entrance, otherwise it's 10. That just can't be a coincidence, right? So, Gasbo didn't know that working out the full model on the painting would give this result. I didn't know either 5 days ago, because the video I suggested were only registering the 429 extension point, the cone A and cone D. And I was happy because it was also pointing at the oak entrance. I remember telling you guys, it's like those guys are looking at the hump and the oak entrance line of sight. And it's only by working with Michael and challenging our minds and understanding how it was working out those geographical or geometrical lines that it's there. And so far in videos, I found maybe overlaying maybe 3, 4, 5 lines. I remember in that episode named Lancelot and the Puffin, I overlay one other painting of Rochefoucauld on the island, and I was registering 4 lines, I think, in one point. Here, I've got 11 points. So that's just mind blasting. It blows my mind, seriously. And I know it blows Michael's too. Yesterday we were talking. Sorry, Michael, I'm going to speak for you, but Michael didn't fully buy the Rochefoucauld Grail story, because you can always make up things looking at pictures. But come on, this is great, right? This is unbelievable. You still not convinced? Well, I got more for you. So we agree Nolan's cross is in that painting, right? That painting is definitely showing you Nolan cross. And if you don't believe it, look at this. This was found yesterday night, French time, just brainstorming with Michael, and I'm like, wait, Michael, look at this and that, and what if I do this, and bang. I think you're gonna love it. So this is Nolan cross. And remember, in PowerPoint, which is I'm using, when you copy a picture and you change the size by hitting one of the diagonals, you're keeping the aspect and the ratio. So you're allowed to make picture grow by respecting the ratio of those two arms making the cross. So, now hang on the edge of your seat. Please do. You see what I'm showing? I'm not even talking. Okay, so the Nolan cross I got here is the same Nolan cross as this picture. I just took the picture and extended, stretched it. The proportions are fully kept between the cones, A, head, D, E, and also the ratio of length to width on both arms. Do you see something? Of course you see something. The feet of the characters locate the cones of Nolan cross when you put that cross, at least the main arm, the longest branch, the backbone, onto the checkerboard of the Rochefoucauld Grail picture. This foot here is the cone E. I mean, come on, I don't even have to show you. It's blatant, right? Well, this one is a bit weird because you don't know if the shoe, I think the shoe stops right here, right? So you may be a couple of inches off, but it seems they wanted to put some red painting there on purpose. There's not a drop that fell from their pen, right? So maybe this is a hint that you want to go all the way there. But come on, this is incredible, isn't it? That Nolan's cross is represented on the Rochefoucauld Grail. You still not convinced? Okay, I'm going to give you more. Let's look at the measurements, because we know the ratios there. So, the distance from A to head, we know it, we can measure it, we get GPS coordinate. And I played around with all kinds of units. I played even around with meters, even though meters were not supposed to be used or exist in 1350. Meters were officially declared and their length and registered in France at the Revolution in 1792 or 93. Even though we found measures of meters definite at Pumakuntu on an old archaeological site in, I think it's in Peru or Argentina, and also in the pyramids, which has been demonstrated. So I was looking at the meters as a secret society kind of message or something. It's not meters. But we know that distance from A to head is 145 US feet. Feet is US feet. I also converted everything into pied. Pied in French means a foot. And with Michael, what we use for this word pied is the pre-1650 measurement since Charlemagne. So since the 8th century until 1600 roughly, the French population, the king at least, because in each region you would find your own measurement of a foot, but the foot was registered to be 135. This is like Charlemagne's foot, okay? And the notion 1347 on Zina Halpern is 1440 feet, modern US feet. So we know that Zina Halpern is coded same as La Formule with French old foot that I'm going to name pied now. So we know that measurement. How many square is this? 1 square, 2 square, 3 square, 4 square, 5 square. Complete or not? Probably complete. 5 square. So I got 5 square, 435 feet. Pied, sorry. Oh my gosh, I need to be careful. 5 square, 435 pied. So 1 square is 1/5 of 134, which is 27 pieds, which works very good also in US foot, because 145 divided by 5 is 29 feet. But I'm going to stick to pied. It was just an example to tell you it works. Doesn't matter. What are we saying here? We're saying that the length of a square, according to this picture and pattern, is 27 pieds. Can I verify this on the other branches? Oh yeah, we know perfectly the distance from each of the cone. So from head to D, it's 131 meters, which is 429 feet. That's what you find on the internet. Very interestingly, when you convert the US feet, the modern unit, to the one that was probably used at the time of the construction, which is the French pied pre-1600, post-800, you found a round number. Is that a coincidence the number is round? Or is that on purpose and they started the whole story with that piece of the branch, that one? They determined this 400 pieds and the rest followed. I don't know. But what I know is that if I count the squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They are big squares here. 15 square, 400 pied, therefore one square is 2666 according to this part of the model. What did I have? 27, 2666, not bad. Not bad. What about the bottom stretch? The bottom stretch, 89 meters, which is 293 feet or 273 pieds. I count. This guy is probably, yeah. Let's count from the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I think the foot goes all the way to this one, or almost. I'm going to take 10. 10 square, 273 pieds, easy calculation, 27 pieds. It works again. So it's a variation around 27. That's why I think the convention is 27, which is pretty good already, right? 27 pieds is the distance of one square. That we didn't have. And as Michael told me, now you got a scale. You can measure anything now. So if I go on the island, and I've got this type of information, back in the days, no GPS, nothing, and I found those boulders from Nolan's Cross. At least I can recognize those boulders' distance is compatible with my picture because I can measure this, and I know the number of squares, and I know the distance of a square. Hey, that's mind-blowing, isn't it? The very fact that Nolan's Cross matching the feet, but that's not all, if that was only it. That's the long side of the branch of Nolan Cross. What about this side from C to B? Well, for us to do what we just did, which is compute the length of the main branch, the longest branch of Nolan Cross, and finding the length of a square, we use that foot, we use this foot, we use that foot, we use this foot. In other words, we use this one, cannot use anymore, it's been used. 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 So I've got 2 feet left. This one here is hidden, just like all the other ones, probably on purpose. Because now I've got 2 feet left, one's here and one's there, right? Can I use them? Well, believe it or not, I will use the same technique with the same proportion keeping. And when I put my Nolan Cross between those 2 feet markers, right here and right there, what do? I count the number of squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. Oh, I found 25. Why? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 25. 25, right. 25. I had to count. Maybe counting in 2 languages is not a good idea. I must have forgot a number on the way, but you can count. It's 25 feet. So 25 feet with 27 pieds per... Sorry, 25 squares, excuse me. With 27 pieds per square is 675 pieds. That's what the computation here gives. What's the real number when you measure it on the island? We know that one branch is 360 feet. So 2 branches, both, one branch is 360 feet. or one branch is 336 pieds. All right, so I multiply by 2, and I've got this magic result. 672 pieds is the real measured distance between cone B and cone C expressed in pieds. How much did I find with my painting? I find 675. 3 foot, 3.2 foot apart. Beautiful, isn't it? So the full Nolan cross is coded into the checkerboard for measurement, using all the feet available, keeping 2 feet for that transert, and all the other feet are used for the main branch. What do you think? Pretty incredible, huh? I'm very impressed by the job of those guys. And remember, we used a year ago for the journey description across the Atlantic, 1 square is 1 day, 1 square is 1 day, 1 square is 1 day on the sea, because you could see the waves here. So the same checkerboard, and I think it's not the end, I'm going to reveal you what at the end. The same checkerboard is used now. Instead of counting days, you're counting 27 pied. That's how they want you to use it now, which is a beautiful and clever system of coding things, isn't it? Using the checkerboard 2 ways already. Gosh, I'm so impressed both by both by the guys who designed this. This is pure cleverness. I'm impressed by Gasbo, Michael, and I. I'm proud. No, this is great news. I mean, wow. You want to look at the next section? So the next section is the veil. So now I'm more into hypothesis, loud thinking. This is not proven. And I told yesterday, Michael, I would not talk about it in this video, but I will because I'm sharing things with you. So okay, so we got the veil here at the bottom, right? We got the veil. Let's zoom on it. First thing that is strange, so far, both for the journey to the Atlantic, where we were counting 1 square is 1 day, or for the Nolan cross measurement, we've been using only 1 dimension of the checkerboard. We don't need that. All we need is 1 stripe, 1 line. It's enough to do everything we've been doing so far. Counting days, counting distances, 1 layer, 1 row would have been sufficient. But they didn't draw 1 row. They draw 4 rows on the left-hand side. 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. And the rows here are getting smaller and smaller. Right? It's decreasing in size. To the point here, it's very narrow. Again, that is on purpose, I think. Those guys do things on purpose. And here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 square. Okay, so the first reading is, okay, they needed to make some floor, and they decided the floor was checkered because it's beautiful. And voila, thank you, Olivier. No, we know it's not it's not working like this in this land. In the Rochefoucauld Grail, it's not working like this. So I made a hypothesis yesterday to Michael, which I don't think he bought, but he knows I'm working sometime with intuition. And that veil here, that's on the floor, I'm going to suggest you 2 things I can't prove. Why do we have 4 layers or 4 rows of checkerboard? We know in this direction we're measuring distance of days. My hypothesis or my proposal is you're measuring depth vertically by 27 pieds, 27 pieds, 27 pieds, 27 pieds. It's just, again, it's a proposal, nothing more. In this area, well, you don't have 27 pied anymore. Maybe you only have half of it there. So maybe you have 13 pied, which is roughly 15 feet. 15 feet being 3 meters, right? And what does the foot tell us? The foot here, that's cone, I don't have my reference and I don't know them by heart. That's cone E. Right? So how about this as a suggestion? At cone E, even maybe underneath the cone, at 13 feet, 10 feet, 15 feet, you'll find a shaft. The shaft brings you under the earth at a depth of 27 plus 27, probably 60 feet. You walk there for that distance, plus that distance, plus that distance, something like 80 feet. And we know the vault is 110 feet. I'm talking feet now. 110 feet from. So the vault, I don't know, but aren't you supposed now to go down? And now you're much deeper because they added that brick here. So yeah, 27 plus 27 plus 27 plus 27. You're basically at 27 times 2, 4, 5, 5. So 3, je retiens 3, so 5, 15, 135 feet. And 135 feet, when you walk down, you find this, which is what? A shaft, which is the vault under the earth. Is the vault here? I don't know. Ed's calculation tend to suggest that the vault is no deeper than 15 feet. Is it the opposite? Is this the vault at 15 feet? And that would be the money pit entrance going through the 45-degree, the tunnels and the corridor? I don't know. And it would mean then that those squares here on the right-hand side, they are more like 150 feet squared rather than 27 feet, right? I don't know. But that veil here is fishy. We know it's fishy from the beginning. Somebody told me it's a ribbon that's supposed to talk about the earth is round and you can go around the earth. I don't know. But I think that the fact that here they added one square that was not visible tends to make me think we're talking about depth. And when I look at this with this state of mind and point of view, this is a corridor or a tunnel, and we know we had stories about shaft. Is that a concealed entry near or under the E-code? I don't know, and I'm going to stop here because this is just me thinking out loud, playing with intuition, and I can't prove anything. But we start to understand how tricky those guys are, right? Okay. Couple of more things. So we got this picture in high def because of the Lancelot Grail project. And the Lancelot Grail project's job, the purpose, is to compare Grail roundtable histories, Camelot and King Arthur, from different manuscripts. This on the right-hand side is the Rochefoucauld Grail. This on the left-hand side is another not Rochefoucauld Grail set of manuscript. And what those guys at the Lancelot Grail project are doing is usually sometimes they got 4 comparison. They find the same text or the same storyline as they would find in the Rochefoucauld Grail, and they compare. For instance, here on this, which is not the Rochefoucauld Grail, about the written text, there is no picture. When on the Rochefoucauld Grail, on this piece of text, they added that picture. It's the only of any manuscript that's got this picture at this place. So that's an interesting element because it only exists in any form, that voyage or even that picture, that suggestion, in the Rochefoucauld Grail. And what does it say? At the bottom here, that's what the Lancelot Grail project suggests as what this picture is about. They kind of translated all old French there, and I'm very not satisfied with the translation. I'm sorry if anybody from the Pittsburgh University is watching this video ever. This is not accurate translation. Here they say, a lady, the false Guinevere damsel messenger, this lady here, having flung her veil to the ground, so they say it's a veil, accompanied by an old king called Berthollet, that's the guy here, brings a letter in a box, that's the box here, to King Arthur and Queen Guinevere. They don't mention anybody on the left. That's what the University of Pittsburgh give us as the subtitle of this picture. But we don't need any. You just need to read here in Old French. Qui apporte une damoiselle et un chevalier lettre au roi Arthur de grand Merueil. Which for a Frenchman today doesn't mean anything. If I say that sentence to somebody in the street, he's gonna look at me and either slap my face because it's riots out there, or just have a good crack. So I try to translate this in both proper French, modern French, sorry, not proper, modern French and modern English. I'm gonna spare you the French version, but in English it says, a lady and a knight bring to King Arthur letters with great marvels, les grandes merveilles, which is absolutely not mentioned at the bottom by the university. This is a letter with great marvels, isn't it? That's what I think they're playing with us on this one. They knew something was hidden. And that sentence about Grande Merveille, the great marvels, do not appear anywhere on other text. This piece of text is only in the Rochefoucauld Grail. It's Michael yesterday who made me read this and say, yeah, you see, you got great marvels. That's what they meant. I like it a lot. Let's go for final conclusions on this one. Okay, so conclusions. This miniature, which only exists in the Rochefoucauld Grail document, features 3 levels of reading, as it usually does, at least 2 levels in most cryptid documents, and in Poussin's paintings about Rennes-le-Château, if you ever heard of them, and etc. And of course the Rochefoucauld map from the discovery of Zina and Donru. It's also several levels of reading. And just with the Zina Halpern's map, a first level with the plain picture seen by tens of thousands, because when the Rochefoucauld Grail was sold, you could find articles in every newspaper in Great Britain and on the net. So thousands of people have seen that picture and they never noticed anything. And when you think about Zina Halpern's map, thousands of people have looked at the map. And when you look at what's written on Reddit's forum and all those forums and Treasure Hunter forum, it's a fake. It's English people who couldn't speak French, but exactly that situation. The first level with the plain picture seen by tens of thousands, noticing nothing. A second, and that's where the beauty of this work is, the second level of reading is an extraordinary description of the journey across the Atlantic to Oak Island, which in itself, I think it's one of the highest or the second highest viewed video I've got since I started this 3 years ago. It's one of my preferred one. The message with the puffin migration routes and the duration, it's a beautiful piece of work they did there. But it's a joke compared to what they made on top of it, hidden, which is the third level of reading. I mean, I've been watching this picture for a year, right? I printed very, very big in my house so I can watch it when I'm in a business meeting and I'm bored. But I've been watching that baby for a year straight every day, and you know my mind is twisted and I'm looking for things like this and I couldn't detect it. It's only with Gasbo's work combined with, because Gasbo pushed me to reach one level, which is the video before. Michael added a coin into the slot box, and here we go again, and me there behind him. So that third level of reading is there, and it's absolutely a masterpiece of coding and crypting. And it's the complete geometry of the it's the complete geometry of the east part of Oak Island as we know it, as we know Nolan's Cross, and as we figured out through the Zina Halpern. So it even confirms Zina Halpern's job, because the set point is there, and the set point is revealed by Zina's and the rocks, the triangle rocks on the island as surveyed, but also the fact there is a hump. It's registered on this document from 1350. And if you don't believe the quadrant is a hump on Zina, what can I do for you? And it almost registered the oak entrance, which is not the money pit. At least it registers the line on which the oak entrance is. But I'm sure, we learned so much with this. Look at the glares. And I started already to work on other pictures now that I've got the coding techniques. It's about the way you can put lines and construct the geometry of any painting, follow the glares, couple of hints like this. So I'm sure the rest will be revealed and we're going to learn more. Incredible 3-layer reading painting. I'm astonished. Even Poussin Ténier, even Poussin the Shepherd of Arcadia only have 1 layer. 2 layers, sorry. The first one for anybody and what's hidden in geometry. But this one with the journey to the Atlantic coding in it. So my conclusion, and I think now it's yours. If not, I don't know what to do. The Rochefoucauld Grail document is 100% connected to Oak Island. It's not about Camelot and Arthur. There's tons of other documents at the time existing. This hides what happened on Oak Island. And yesterday I had a huge debate with Michael about what came first. Was it the island came first, the geometry came first, and they built the island based on the geometry? They built the island and they recorded the geometry of the island and they coded it in paintings. I'm not sure. I don't know. But it's there. You can't fight it. And it's there also on Zina Halpensman. You can't fight it. It's there. Just for a reminder, this document we just studied is dated 1320, 1350. Not only it's 700 years old, but it's old. What I mean by that is before Columbus was born. I have people on the last video who told me, and I was very surprised. Oh, of course, it's the Bacon teams that created those pictures. And Bacon was Champlain. I don't know about Bacon and Champlain, but I know one thing for sure. Bacon was not born in 1320. He was born in 1580 something, I think, and died in 1620, 1630, something like that. I mean, unless he can travel through time, I don't know. No, this Rochefoucauld Grail has been studied enough, and it was ordered by Guy Rochefoucauld VII while he was fighting for the King of France in the Tournai region. And the Tournai region was known and famous for those people, artists who was making those paintings within books. Namely, at the time, the only prose book that was around was the King Arthur story with 4 or 5 volumes. That's as simple as that. Da Vinci wasn't born either at the time, 1500 something, or late 1400s. So this is like older than everything we can think of related to Oak Island. And it, of course, it causes a huge historical problem, meaning that Oak Island was known of before Columbus in, what was it, 1476? No, 1492. Anyways, thank you very much, Gazbo. Thank you very much, Michael. I hope you enjoyed all this. Please subscribe if you haven't yet. That was what I mean. Where are we going next? Where are we going next? But I challenge anybody to prove me that Rochefoucauld Grail's got nothing to do with Oak Island. Love you all. Take care. Love your comments. You know how useful your comments are. And I'll talk to you soon for another video when we find some material, because here we've been cracking a lot. Tons of love. Take good care. Bye-bye.